Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, guide, and coach on this journey, Dr. Wayne Pernell. And today is a special day. I've got Christine Barnhart with me. Christine is known as the supply chain whisperer, which which is great. I love that. The supply chain whisperer. We can learn so much about the leadership journey when we look at different verticals. And when we look at supply chain, you don't think about it. It's behind the scenes. This is one of those things where
Yeah.
you go, oh, I wish I had a XYZ. And when you order it, suddenly it's there. There's magic in that. And Christine knows all about that magic. So today we welcome Christine Barnhart. Welcome to One Sharp Sword.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wayne. I'm super excited to be here today.
I am super excited to have you. Seriously, you've your journey. I have notes in front of me. I may be I will be. I'll be writing and taking notes along the way. And I'll pause you for the leadership brilliance that you bring. You've done this quite a long time. You've been
You're
in
not going to make me admit how many years, are you? Come on.
you've done this quite a long time. And I mean, you started as a child,
Of course. Yeah.
so and you've been in various organizations, and each one offers you new insights, and you offer them new insights. And along the way, I mean, that's part of the human journey. We go and we engage and we grow. And so, what I'd love to do is to back up a little bit and find out, just to share. I love sharing part of the human journey before we get into, well, what is it you're doing now? And
Yeah.
right, you didn't wake up and go, today I'm going to be the head of this really long title that I didn't write down. Uh,
I love it. So, what can I tell you this morning, Wayne? What do you want to know?
well, okay. So I love when we first spoke, you talked about being not only loving Cabernet, but you talked about
I do
you
love Cabernet.
see, you talked about being just like your heart is in such the right place, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have you here. You're civics minded. You are looking to lift others, and one of my things is lift as you lead. And so let's talk about your journey a little bit. And usually I'll start with um like what influenced you growing up? Did you get into college for a certain direction and go, well, that's not it? Or like, yeah, I knew exactly what it was. So that's where I'd love to go. Like let's back up, not to the point of let's begin with your mother and your father, not that. But let's go with, like what influenced you growing up that allowed you to have such a good heart and such a good kind of we've got to help each other kind of mentality.
Well, first, I would say I think I'm pretty fortunate. My parents were quite young when they had me, like 18, 19 years old. But they had a really, really strong like family unit. So super close with my grandparents, my aunts and uncles. I am the oldest child, and everything that comes with that, right? But for me, I think influence started really early, and it was Girl Scouts. So I am a fourth generation Girl Scout. My great grandmother was one of the women that helped stand up the first organizations in Evansville, Indiana, which is where I live. A long history of people being, part of the community and giving to others. But I give a ton of credit to Girl Scouts and then team sports later as I got older for helping to give me confidence and, make me more self-reliant and resilient. And I'm pretty lucky. School has always come easy to me. I didn't realize that that was a gift, I guess, until I was and actually until I had my own children, and I have one child who is exactly like me, learns very easily, and one child that just learns differently, right? So, school was always super easy. Um, I did well. Like, I mean, I had good grades in advanced classes and whatnot. I think for me, the struggle was I was pretty balanced between math and science and like English verbal. And so trying to figure out, like, I didn't have a calling. Like, I hear people that talk about, oh, I wanted to be X, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. I didn't have a calling, right? I wanted to make enough money to support myself and I wanted to do fun things. And I wanted the work to be interesting. And so my uncle was an engineer, and my best friend's dad was also an engineer, and they both kind of pushed me in that direction. So it was my first real experience with mentors. If I look back, I've had a ton of them since then. But they were like, hey, we think you should be an engineer. And I listened to that and ended up in engineering school as an electrical engineer. And that was really for me where the path started, was at the University of Evansville.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, so you have a degree in EE? Or
I'm a double E.
you're a double E, electrical engineer. That's amazing. That's so good.
Wire jockey.
That's so good. So most people don't start out with I know what my calling is. I know my purpose. Most people have to bump into a few walls or be guided. I was one of the lucky ones where in seventh grade, I actually knew that I wanted to do something in psychology. It was sort of like
Nice.
that, right? So people
Yeah,
talk to each other and help each other. And like I had a way of understanding people early on. But most people start where you are, and you were also very fortunate to have guidance, right?
I did. Yes. Yes. So lucky to have really strong role models that, were able to kind of look at me overall and say, I think this would be a really great place for you to start. And they were right. I still think like an engineer. I haven't done true engineering. I mean, at least not electrical engineering in many years. But I solve problems like an engineer, right? I take a step back. I look at the whole situation. I gather data. And then in a logical and methodical way, kind of break things down until I get to a solution that works for me. And honestly, it drives probably my family crazy because I do that in every single aspect of my life.
It's that it's not a bad process. I mean, that's the process I use when I consult with an organization. The reason that it works is that a perspective of stepping back is not something, again, most people can do in their own lives, in their own
Right,
organization. When my saying is you can't ask a fish what water is like because they don't have a reference point for not water, right?
that's true.
Right.
Yeah,
So your practice is one of perspective, which I'm a huge fan of. It's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is so you would say magical things like that. Right. So problem solving, step back, look at the whole picture, gather data, then gather more data because you're always missing something, and
right,
then say, okay, this is a possible path, and
right.
be willing to test it. Love that. I love that.
I
Um,
think the be willing to test it thing is actually really important, Wayne. I see a lot of people that are really risk adverse and they miss opportunities and they miss learning experiences because they don't want to fail. They have inertia to some extent, right? And I think for me, I said it up front. I had a really strong family unit, and now I complement that with really strong friends and peers. And so I have a safety net, and I know that I have a safety net. I'm really thankful for that. It gives me this ability then put myself out there, and take some risks. And there are definitely roles that I've had that I was not very good at, that quickly had to pivot and be like, yeah, maybe this isn't the right path for me. But that's part of the journey. And I think I wish people understood that more and were able to really embrace it.
Let me unpack that a bit. When you say that you have a safety net, for some people, that's, well, I have X number of dollars in the bank. And for you, it's, I've got people that, what, if I imploded, I could go to. Like,
Yeah,
is
no,
that
I
what
mean,
it is?
yeah, so, I think in today's day and age, like, your network, especially professionally, is super important. But for a lot of people, they think that that means, like, who do I know, right? I don't think it's who do you know. I think it's who do you know and who is willing to speak on your behalf? Who's willing to give you advice because they know that you're going to be receptive to it? Who is willing to recommend you to others? So for me, I mean, look, I'm privileged. I do have a financial safety net as well. But for me, more importantly, I have like an emotional safety net. And these are people that I know, I trust. They want what's best for me. Sometimes what's best for me is for them to hold a mirror up and say, "Hmm, are you sure this is really who you are, or this is really what you want?" I mean, it's not always roses, right? But those are the people that I think you really need to surround yourself with.
This is huge. I'm making a quick note before I lose that. This is huge in that you say it matter of factly. And f- I like the people that I work with understand it logically, but they don't often do it in practice on a regular basis. To have friends, to deliberately put yourself in front of friends or create the friendships at the depth where you do hold up the mirror for each other.
Right.
You have that comfort. Uh, it's a comfort enough to be uncomfortable.
It's a vulnerability, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now look, it's not that I don't have scars and that I have always been this way. I was 30 years old when I got divorced. And very frankly, I thought I was stupid, I was ugly, and that no one would ever love me. And it was a really hard place to be. I had two small children. I give a ton of credit to Whirlpool, who was my employer at the time, and the relationships and the people there that supported me, and they built me up, and they sent me around the world to work on projects because they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Beyond that, I had, great family. I actually, at that time, could have counted like good friends on one hand because I was extremely isolated. And which is actually not a natural place for me looking back. Like, I had allowed that to occur. It was part of the reason I think I was so miserable because I like people. Um, Now, that doesn't mean that I'm always an extrovert because people wear me out too, right? But I like the interaction. I want to talk to you. I want to know about your family. What do you love to do? What interests you? Like, I like that. So I embarked on that journey at about 30 to really like prescriptively, how do I make friends, and how do I grow a network of people? But I was in a dark place before that. So
And good for you for coming out. Good for you for having the fortitude to know that you could climb out. Here's the other thing, like I will pause you along the way or at the natural pause to kind of highlight some of the things that you've just said that are so normal and natural for you and aren't for so many people. That there's this, this sense of I could take discomfort as long as I know I'm going to grow from it.
Right.
I, right? And
It's
that,
true.
right? That's not a thing that most people do. Most
I would
people
agree.
will find psychological safety, and for them that does mean isolation. For them that
Right.
does mean putting up walls. Vulnerability, the root word, the etymology of vulnerability is the ability to be wounded. And so when you are vulnerable, you actually allow yourself that openness, which means trust is a huge factor.
Right.
And it means that, most people don't actually have more than a handful of friends in their inner circle. And that's reasonable, right? How many people are you going to
Right.
say, yeah, I'm available to be wounded by you? Uh, right? So it's like, I trust you to hold me if I need
Yeah,
it.
I also prescribe to I don't think it's a single circle. I think it's concentric circles
Absolutely right.
and actually it's a bit of like, sometimes certain circles like you know what I mean? Like and I think the circles are kind of always moving. I definitely have like a core group of women
Right.
that I'm super super close with. We do girl trips together and we send each other stupid stuff, during the day and whatnot. I have a similar group like that of women from a business perspective, like a professional. I call them pro friends. And then I have other people that, I love them, I care about them. Maybe I don't talk to them as regularly. But we're still there for each other. We still nurture each other, we still support, enjoy each other's company, that kind of thing. But I often tell young people in particular, like it didn't come naturally for me. I'm kind of an out of sight, out of mind kind of person because I get really focused on whatever the next thing is. So I have to remind myself on a regular basis to like stop. And I'll get on LinkedIn and I'll go through my connections on LinkedIn and I will reach out to people that I haven't seen or talked to in a while. I do the same on Facebook on the my friend side, right? So that it doesn't end up being 3 years and I'm like, I haven't talked to Julie in 3 years. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but again, it's a methodology, right? And so
It-
that's
it-
me taking that kind of engineering mindset and applying it in a way that it just helps me kind of in my day to day.
this is success. I mean, that's right. So there are tricks, tips, tactics, real tactics to live this life of success. And
Yeah,
one of them is, when you're so driven and your calendar is so full that to actually schedule, like this is the half hour where I'm going to go back and just reach out to the people that I haven't said, hey, like I haven't said
exactly.
hi to in forever. If it's not on the calendar, it's not likely to happen. And
Exactly.
early on when I was doing relationship work, it was something that I would tell the guys in the relationship, like, open your calendar. This is the date that you're going to, what, send a special text, send a card, like, let her know that you actually care, put it back in your mind
Right.
until it becomes a natural thing.
Right.
And uh, uh, so you're doing this with your friend groups and your business groups. I really I like I'm highlighting this. This is a success tactic. Like the things that you've done to get to your level of success, it's not accidental.
Yeah.
You don't wake up one day and go, today I'm gonna run this part of this organization. It's like, no, no, right?
Right.
So
No, I think it's a progression and you take steps, along you know, you just have to put one foot in front of the other, right? And then be willing to learn every single day. Like, and
that's
I
the
will
key.
say,
I just want to highlight that statement. You have, right? It's one foot in front of the other. That's a deliberate thing. It's not like, well, I'll just keep going. It's no, no. It is deliberate where you're stepping, and it's a deliberateness about not just a willingness, but it's an active process to learn. Like
oh, yeah,
learning,
100%.
right? What am I learning
Yeah,
about myself? What am I learning about my organization? What am I learning about my industry? What am I learning about industries that are adjacent to mine that I might adopt so that I can make
yeah,
mine even better, right? So it's the expansive mindset that I think is really, really important. And you've trained yourself to do that, which is why I paused, like, wait, Christine, that was
yeah.
brilliant. So
Yeah, it becomes a habit, right? You don't think about it anymore, right? You just do it because it's become part of kind of your day-to-day routine.
yeah, like, I mean, the analogy of brushing your teeth, right? When you first started doing it, you had to be taught, and then it was a struggle and a fight. And like anybody who's had kids knows that piece. And now it's, of course, you're going to brush your teeth because you don't want to be, right? Like
Yeah, it feels gross.
the alternative is gross. Yeah. The other thing you said, like, I want to go back to the the divorce where you actually had this "am I good enough" kind of flood of "I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, there's like all this stuff, the shame, the doubt, the internal judgment. And I'm calling that out because that happens not just from a divorce, that happens sometimes when the project you really wanted to have happen falls through, or the job you really wanted, or the person you thought you were connected to. Whatever it is, there are things that set you back and you start to wonder about yourself. And two things that you said. One is, you didn't say it quite this way, but it was sort of like, even through the doubt, you knew that there was some value. And the other thing that you said was that you had outside agents. You had the company and you had family and friends that were like, hey, try this, go here, do
Right,
this. And I think that's also caused you to be a model for others where, if you can, like, I will say things like, you can borrow my belief in you because right now you can't see your value. I see it. Borrow my belief in you.
right,
Let's go. And I think that's so valuable that, you've been in mentorship roles, going back to the Girl Scouts. It's the right. You now lead girls, you lead women also professionally,
right.
uh, to their next. And I think that's huge. I think that's so important. So I
I
wanted to call out
Yeah,
some of the processes along the way that have really shaped your success. And that while we look at, oh, supply chain whisperer, it's like there's this powerhouse behind that moniker, and that power is not accidental. And I think that is something that, if each audience member, as you're listening to this, as you're watching this, can go, okay, what do I need to be deliberate about next?
You know you are bigger than the life you are leading. It really is time to attend to that thing you've wanted to do or have, but you've been putting off. It's time to step into that dream you've parked for someday. It's time to claim true well being, both personally and professionally, without giving up the success that got you here. It's time to check out Dr. Pernell's signature small group retreat, the Exponential Success Summit. Explore exponentialsuccesssummit.com. Seats are extremely limited as this is a very special small group event. www.exponentialsuccesssummit.com.
What is your next, or what were you going to say? You,
No, I mean, I don't know what's next, Wayne. And that's somewhat intentional. I don't stress out about stuff like that anymore. I kind of just go with it. And so as long as I feel like I'm learning, I'm engaged, I'm interested, then that's the path that I'm going to continue to go down, for as long as those things are true. And then when it's not true anymore, that's when for me I start to look at, okay, well, how and where do I pivot, And I do think it's interesting, so the first 12 years of my career I did with Whirlpool Corporation in very engineering centric, all different kinds of engineering, but very engineering centric. And I started to go more and more down that kind of path of subject matter expert and specialization in engineering. And I got to a point where the next promotion, I was going to be an individual contributor. And I would probably have been locked into that then for the rest of my career. And I was like, man, that doesn't really work for me because I like people, right? And I'm comfortable bringing people together. And so that for me was really the first big pivot. I'm so sorry.
That's awesome. We we
Boomer,
we
I can't play right now.
we love animals on the show. It's good. I was wondering if the little boomer would show up.
Ty, my husband is working from home today too. So they're going outside to play.
That's awesome.
He's very persistent. So he brought me his ball. Sorry.
Of course, yeah, no, I'm good. That's so good.
But no, that was my first big pivot. And that was when I made the decision that maybe Whirlpool wasn't where I needed to stay. And again, engaged in those mentors and the network, and did a complete pivot then out of engineering and into my first supply chain role. And that was at Me Johnson Nutrition, and had incredible mentor there. She was really attuned to the industry. She a couple of years older than me. She had raised her kids. It was a really lovely experience where she was helping me grow, um and learn about a different area of the business. And you know what? I fell in love with supply chain. Um it- I get to use all of the engineering chops, but I get to see how things get to people. And I also get to see how companies and the choices and the investments that they make really impact communities, right? I believe, and it's the reason that I've kind of ended up the last couple of years where I have in terms of companies. I believe supply chains are what will solve the problems in the world. It will raise all boats. It will bring people out of poverty. It will help us ensure that we're being good to the planet. Those types of decisions are made by supply chains. And I want to be a part of that. I want to make things better. So that's, for me, I get to, like, I found a personal passion and I get to do it in like my everyday life. That's a beautiful thing.
You're living your purpose, right? You're
Again.
every day you're living your purpose, and it's not just, oh, supply chain. It's
Yeah.
there are humans, good humans behind the supply chain
Sure.
process. Right. And
Yep.
so what you've talked about, most people don't think about how things get to us, right? So
Yeah.
it's sort of like there are all the little parts that need to come in, that then need to be assembled, that then need to be packaged, that then need to be
Yep.
stored, that then need to be inventoried, that then need to be picked, that then get labeled and then get sent out. And all of that
Yep.
is part of the magic behind the scenes.
It is. It's so fun. I'm on the board of directors for the Association of Supply Chain Management, and we co-produced a documentary that is literally in the last 2 weeks came out on Amazon. So you can go out and find the chain, CHAIN, right? And I think there's 6 episodes, and it's really, really good. Like, as somebody that's in supply chain that understands it, I'm like, yes, like I can now like send this to family and friends when they're like, now what is it you do? Like,
That's awesome. That's really great. I want to go back to something because this is big in terms of uh, kind of a personal process that affects your professional process and back again. Learning, engaged, interested. You had the ability and still do have the ability to do an internal check for each of those. again, this is a deliberate process that then becomes a practice that you're just become used to.
Right.
I'm calling it out because it is not always visible, right? So, am I learning? Good question. So, if you're not sure on a scale of 1 to 10, today, did you learn something? Right? Do I feel engaged on a scale of 1 to 10? Give it a Likert scale, like rate yourself.
Right.
Am I still interested in what I'm doing? And that could be anything from the food you eat, like meal planning, to the people you associate with, to the job you're doing. Are you learning? Are you engaged? Are you interested? On a
Right.
scale of 1 to 10, it's a great inventory to run for yourself.
Yeah.
The career pivot meant that you actually believed in yourself enough to let go of what you knew, what was safe, because most people would have gone, wow, individual contributor, I'm in this for the long haul now. Like, this is my life and it's safe, and I will show up and I will get my paycheck, and it's a good paycheck, and ta-da, life is good. It's very routine, and suddenly it's dull. And, 20, 30, 40 years later, you go, what have I done? Where's my
Yeah.
life? Right. And you're
I
like,
would tell you,
I
I
can't
mean, I
do
think, some people are built differently. And so if that's what works for them, great. It didn't work for me.
that.
It didn't and I would say I think part of it is I now that I'm older, I now listen to my body more, because your body will tell you if something's not working for you. How are you sleeping? How's your stomach, right? Like, or how's your head? Do you have, like, are you getting headaches? Do you feel bad? Like, my body when I was younger would tell me when things were not right in my environment for me. I didn't always listen. Now I do, right? And so, yes, prescriptively, I think about these things, but I'll be like, like, I'm not sleeping well. What's going on with me, right? Like,
Yeah.
why is that? What's happening? What is it in my life that is like preoccupying my brain, right? And so I have to ask myself those questions too.
This is great. It's that's the engineer part of you. Let's deconstruct this. Let's work backwards. If this is the result, what caused this?
Yeah.
And what's a path that's different? For a lot of people, I think that pain becomes normal. And it's like, oh, on a scale of, really painful to moderate ache, I guess I'm, just above moderate ache today. Yay. And it's like, that's not health.
No, it isn't. That life's too short for that, in my opinion. And look, you're never gonna be 100% happy and engaged, and like, you're not going to like everything you do, especially from a work standpoint, every single day. Even now there's things that I'm like, oh, put this off until the end of the week because I hate doing expense reports. But by and large, like 80% of the time, like, it should feel good, and you should feel like you're accomplishing something. And if you're not getting that, then maybe you need to reassess. I also would tell you, I think, I'm a bit of an outlier. I don't mind change. I kind of like it. Like, the chaos of change works for me. It's
Mhm.
why I moved to technology, now into consulting, where I'm one of those people pushing companies to change, because I know that change is hard, and that you got to be pushed a little bit. A lot of people don't thrive on change, and so you got to kind of move them forward and dangle out some carrots to get them on a path. Um, and so if I can help them do that, then why wouldn't I? Because change is, I'm not going to say it's comfortable for me, but it's a space that I'm comfortable existing in.
That's great. That is great. You are an outlier. There are, those that are driven for more typically go, okay, I've reached a place of comfort, and I know that the next it lives just beyond the bounds of that comfort
Right.
I've created for myself. Stability is what most people look for. So when I work with leaders, I will help them uh, couch their communication around change in terms of for the sake of stability. We're
Right.
going to engage in these few tweaks to the way we do things. Um, a lot.
I might say I think there's a difference between stability and comfort. I think
Oh,
you can
definitely,
still have stability, but you got to make yourself a little uncomfortable, right?
definitely.
You
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm with you. It's for those that are afraid of change. They need the language of stability.
Yeah.
And I'm totally with you that I think that each of us, and probably each of the audience members that are listening and watching to this, I think are in a space of, okay, what could I do to make myself grow just that bit today?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the word or the phrase risk well. I never taught my kids, like I never told them, oh, be careful, honey. For me, it was like, you're smart, like risk well, go out,
Yeah.
like try new things, risk well, with the understanding they're not going to play on the freeway. They're not going to like do anything to harm themselves. Risk
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Um, that's great. I like change is a strong statement. Do you find then that you will stir things up for the sake of stirring things up? Because there
It
are people
depends
that
on
like
the
change that
it
much.
depends on the situation. I try to be situation aware. Um, but yes, to some extent. Now, like I would tell you probably 10 years ago, I would have been like, let's have a debate. Like, now, just with the political environment in the world, I will have those debates, but generally it has to be in a safe place with like people that I know that I can have a discussion with. So in that case, I'm kind of assessing the situation and saying, yeah, like that's just not it just wouldn't be good for me to just openly you know so it depends, it depends.
All right, so change is different than stirring the pot.
Yes, oh yes,
Okay, so
absolutely.
so you're
So it has a
deliberately
purpose.
right?
Stirring
Yeah,
the pot sometimes is like what are you just trying to get people's hackles up, like?
yeah.
Yeah,
And there's enough of that out there.
there is enough of that out of there.
Yeah. So change for you is about growth, which is awesome, I think.
Yes.
Cool. We haven't talked much about supply chain. Is there something beyond what we've discussed that you wanted to bring, just in terms of this is what it is and what I do, or talking about it globally is good. Um,
I could pretty much go wherever you want, Wayne. Like, is there something about supply chain that interests you? Like, or a question that you would have? Like, I have worked with some of the biggest supply chain companies on the planet. Um, it's always interesting to kind of pull back the covers and see how do they organize, how do they think about their business. And I think I hear a lot of people that they complain about, big business and, profits and greed and whatnot. And I would tell you that most people that are working for these big companies, they're just trying to make good decisions. They're trying to balance, how can I get the best product possible for the lowest possible price to my customers? And they're very driven by that mission. So I think in general, the industry gets a bit of a bad rap. And they're just trying to do the best that they can with the data and the information that they have available. And if you understood the number of trade-offs and pieces of data, that millions and millions of pieces of data and factors and that they're trying to account for, it's part of the reason I think we live in such an exciting age with artificial intelligence, because we're able now to bring information and context and insights to these professionals so that they're not, drowning in rows and columns, right? Like, I mean, I came up through supply chain where Excel was like the most sophisticated planning tool, on the planet. And look, I still love Excel. I still have a passion for it. But you could be really mundane trying to go through all the data, and now we're able to kind of serve things up for people so that they can make better decisions faster. That's exciting.
That is exciting. Um, it just is. I love the concept of companies, meaning the people in the decision making roles, companies, right? So there's always people behind companies are making the decisions based on best product, based on lowest cost, based ultimately on customers.
Mhm.
What do customers want? And that's a very human consideration, and it's different than what will they buy, where
Right. Oh yeah.
right? It's what do they want? What do people want? And I think to approach pretty much anything that way, it's like, how can we enhance the lives of those we touch? That's noble, really.
Well, and it also, one thing that I would hope people would pick up is what that means is the power is actually in the hands of the consumer, right? Where you choose to shop and what you choose to buy has power. If you don't like the way a company presents itself or how they manage their business, don't buy their stuff and they will make a change, right? And so I learned that a long time ago, sitting in the harbor in Hong Kong, watching them load sea containers and thinking, is this what I want to support? Right. And so now I make trade-offs in where I buy and where I shop, and just bought a new vehicle and did a tremendous amount of research, wanted to make sure that I was supporting the UAW. Um, and because like I can't complain that people in the US aren't making a living wage if I'm not willing to support a business that ensures that they're making a living wage. And so that's where the understanding of how things work and my personal mission really come together.
And and you live it congruently, which is so great because it is so easy to go, well, I needed this one thing, right?
No, that would be disingenuous. That's not who I
Mhm.
am. No. Look,
Exactly.
love me or hate me, but this is who I am in all facets of my life.
And so easy to love. Look at your nails too. I mean, they're awesome. Hold up your hand. Ta-da. Okay, so very nice. Uh, that's so great. It's just it's also like, well, I got to meet you, and we had a conversation, and it was really clear that I wanted you here for all of the things you've brought in this short time. Just like you're bringing you're bringing a congruent good human with solid values that are really easy to read, right? And I think if I think if each of us lived that way, it's like, what a world, right? This is what I
Absolutely. No,
believe
I
with
agree
a
with you.
right?
Yeah, totally agree with you. And my thing is, I feel like I am in a good place because I had people that invested in me, that helped, they gave their time because they coached a team or they gave their time to Girl Scouts, or and so if I can't do something similar, like I don't know, it just I don't understand that, right? I think I'm when you get yourself to a good place, I think you're obligated, in my opinion, to give back to others, right? And so that's the space where I am in my life. Do I still want to do fun things for me? Absolutely. But I also think that I should do good things for others and to try to lift up others that maybe haven't had the success or the privilege or the opportunities that I've had.
That's amazing. It's really great. Lift as you lead, right?
I
That
like that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's yeah, super. Oh, well, as we wind this down then, is there anything you thought or wished or still wish I would ask you, or anything you wanted to share going in that you know, you get to share that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say I so appreciate you having me on. You don't know me really all that well, so you didn't know where I would go.
I
And the
don't.
whole
Yeah.
the whole supply chain whisperer thing is a bit tongue in cheek because there's not very much that's quiet about me. But um yeah, but if I can, influence along the back end, I try to do that. But yeah, no, this has been great. I love it.
I love it too. Thank you. You're amazing and um just like fun and eh, so smart and grounded, and like everything you bring is it is who you are, and it's like that's the role model. Like, lift as you lead, acknowledge privilege, reach out to others, help them up. It's just so positive all along the way. And so I appreciate that. We've got a lot to think about, and you've you've helped to enrich me and my audience. So thank you. Thanks
I
for
love
being.
it.
This is
I love
great.
it. And you know what? Folks are always willing to, you know, contact me. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty easy to get to if they don't agree with something and they want to challenge something I said or they just want to ask a question. I'm you know,
See
happy
that
to be available.
you're actually, most people are like, well, if you want to reach out to me, you can. You're like, if there's something you want to challenge me on, I'm here for it.
I told you I like debate.
It's awesome. It's really great. Well, you could find Christine Barnhart on LinkedIn. And wow, amazing. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate this. Really appreciate your insights along the way.
Awesome. Awesome. Have a great day.
Yay. All right. My guest today, Christine Barnhart. This is One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I am your host, Dr. Wayne Pernell, your host, guide, and coach on this journey. We will see you here next time.